Hello again guys, and welcome back to my channel. And today I thought before we get underway, I'll just quickly say a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas to all of you who are watching this, as this is going to be uploaded just before Christmas, I think a couple of days before. And as you can tell by the Christmas music we got round up in the background, we're going to have that on all video. And yeah, just quickly say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all you guys who are watching. Hopefully you have a good time as we roll on to the video now, which is going to be the top 10 racing moments of my 2024 racing season. We've got a handful of graphics just like this one to show us what number is it and where we're at. We've got the Royal British Legion Partnership coming in at number 10. This was when I was racing at the Walter Hayes Trophy back in November. We got some poppy decals to put on the car, and we got approached by the Deddington branch of the Royal British Legion, which is where my relatives lived during the time of the war and went off to serve, obviously, and who we owe a great debt to in today's society. Obviously we've got a bit of airtime as well, which you're looking at right now, courtesy of the Walter Hayes Trophy. And yeah, as I was saying, we owe a great debt to them who went out and fell, and I think it's something that is really important to remember. We never must forget them. We will remember them every single year and all the time, not just on November the 11th. Coming in at number 9, we've got these graphics up again. We come down to the last lap crash at Snetterton, which is going to be a bit of an unfortunate time, as we had a great day of practice and a great day of racing. Race 1 wasn't quite as strong as we were hoping, but we came home in 4th, I believe it was. But then in race 2 we had this unfortunate incident here. As it started chucking it down with rain, we were challenging the guys for the win. We were fighting the top 3 that we dropped away from in the first race and ended up in the wall like this. Absolutely horrified, as you can see by the end there. I just couldn't believe it, after pulling off some really nice overtakes like this one here. This was on the championship leader, who just got crowned the champion the race before, I believe it was actually. Yeah, after a great season of learning and development, this was a great way to end the season. Apart from obviously the last lap, we were challenging. This is the top 3 here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 of us all together, nose to tail, across the entire race. This was as well. Number 8 comes in with my Linden Hill wet weather starts, as I've been getting good starts all season, to be fair, until the Walter Hayes actually. But with Linden Hill, it's come the first time we came to Linden Hill actually, and it was a new track for many of us. The first time Formula 4's have been here in nearly 30 years. Obviously it's not a circuit they're all used to, because it's super narrow, very hilly and very bumpy and very abrasive surface actually, so the tyres did wear down quite quickly and it was very slippery. But we were able to have a good race. I think we qualified 7th or 8th, and we managed to progress up to the top 5, particularly by the end of the first lap in this clip, I believe it was. If it wasn't this clip, it was maybe another one, but we'll see in this second. As you can see us go around the hairpin, this is a full-on lap as well. Lap times around here are I think high 30s, low 40s maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's really low lap times. So we got into 5th and then we got into 4th on the next lap. So by the end of the second lap we were running in 4th, I believe. This is the footage of my wet weather start, posted on Oldfield Motorsport's Instagram page. As you see, we just drive around the inside of that red car there, and also nearly got up the inside of another one. So we very nearly went from, I think it was 7th to 3rd in that first corner there. Obviously we went from 7th to 5th in the end, so it wasn't quite as good. As you can tell, very slippery, jiggering the steering wheel about all the time as we were trying to feel the grip, find the grip. As the second race was wet, this is the first race of the day, so we had qualifying in the rain, and the race 2 wasn't wet, as this was it. Number 7, we are going back to this lovely graphic again, photoshopped by myself, so it's definitely professional. My most improved track though was Brands Hatch, as from last season I couldn't get under a 51-second lap time, I believe it was. My personal best coming into this was like a 51.07 or something like that, where this time come around with Oldfield Motorsport, I've made huge improvements this time. That was my personal best lap time at Brands Hatch almost straight away, but even more so the second time we came around to visit. The graphic's going to show up in a second. I managed to gain, I think it was just 0.6 of a second on my fastest lap time, which was absolutely amazing. And even though it was such a big event, we got, I think, 7th in both races out of 30 cars. that for myself isn't bad at all. I think that's some of my personal best results so far, and we've got more to come, hopefully, if we can get back on the grid in 2025. Coming in at number 6 is just a scary suspension failure. Nothing much really to do with racing, but as you can see, as we approach Beckett's at the Walter Hayes Trophy, as we're practicing on the Friday, I think this was, my rear suspension had a sheared bolt in it when I went over a bump. Under braking, it snapped going into Beckett's, which was quite scary. As you can see, we went straight on, and definitely a bit of a scary moment as I'm wiggling the steering wheel going left to right, trying to feel if there was something wrong. I couldn't tell at the super slow speed, but I knew something was wrong with braking, so whether it was the brakes or the suspension, I wasn't quite sure, but I found out later on as I rejoined the track and I went down the straight, and funny enough, as we look in the mirror, somebody else had the exact same problem, so I thought that was quite funny. I saw that in the mirror as well. Moving on to number 5 now, we're halfway through the video, we're nearly there, as we had a risky overtake. This one that I've captioned it, but I think this was a pretty good overtake actually, at Brands Hatch. This was, I think, that same meeting I set the personal best lap time. As you can see, there's many cars, as a lot of them were practicing for the Formula Ford Festival coming up in a few months' time from this clip this was, and my overtake is just coming up, as there's going to be a little collision ahead for some people, and it took a bit of avoiding action, but we also took that into an opportunity. So we had a bit of a bad run off the corner. This slowed the car up in front, and we did manage to get up the inside just about, nearly being forced into the pit lane, but we did manage to get past him just about, and we managed to pull a gap on him and finish in 7th place. I think that position at the time was for about 10th or something, I'm not sure. Number 4 comes in at keeping it tight. I don't know why I come up with some of these weird names, but I can't actually remember what I did for this one, but we'll see in a minute. I've got some video clips of Sneaks. This was at Silverstone again, I believe, in the Walter Hayes Trophy. No, sorry, this is at my race in April at Silverstone, so the first race of the year. This is in the lead train, I believe, apart from the top 2 who have disappeared in the distance. We go diving up the inside into Brooklands. We lose it through the exit of Luffield, but we do manage to have better speed on the exit and the drive through the corner as we get in the toe, up the gearbox, getting really close, and we go tight to the inside. We're getting tightly squeezed to the pit wall. This was also broadcast. This is the footage there, so it doesn't look as bad on the off-board as it does the on-board, but it was extremely squeezed there. But we did manage to make it through and gain the position in the race, and that was quite the moment there, as we did manage to finish. No, we didn't finish ahead. I think we lost it by like 0.4 of a second coming across the line, so we had a really close finish there in that April meeting at Silverstone. Coming into number 3, we have a rain dance, as this was one of my favourite moments of the season. I knew it was going to be a top 3 regardless what happened. So as it started to rain at Snetterton, coming back to that meeting, the same race where I crashed off, but just a few laps before that, so as we were making moves on the championship leader, of course, you saw that one there, going into the hairpin, making a nice little late brake move on a very slippery surface and the racing line. This one here is the one I'm most proud of, as we managed to make a move round the outside, trying to find the grip better than the championship winner could actually, and I was really impressed by that for myself. I was absolutely stunned that I somehow managed to pull that off, and I still can't quite believe it now, to be fair. But now in the grand final of the Walter Hayes Trophy, so we're coming back to Silverstone again. It's a lot of Silverstone action, but I haven't got an onboard of the Silverstone grand final start actually. But I started in 22nd place, I think it was, off the line. By the end of the second lap, I was 16th, or challenging for 15th, which was quite a good start, I believe. One of my best of the season. And I was looking to propel myself even further up the field, but unfortunately I had a power restriction in the engines, which was quite unfortunate, halting my progress, and I did drop back further down the field in the end. This was footage from the heat that I was in. I qualified, I think, 10th, and I was fighting for 4th by the end of the race, amongst these 3 cars, which is what you can see here on the battles. It's the only bit of airtime we got, but always looking forward, and there's always optimism for next year. So let's see what happens, as you can't predict the future going into 2025. Coming in at number 1, and the final one for this video, and the top moment of the 2024 racing season in terms of action, and definitely racing action, was my final lap at the Castle Combe racing meeting in the bank holiday Monday. Now this was a slightly odd weekend as there was a wet test day. I've never driven Castle Combe at all before. We were looking fairly fast apart from this spin at the track, which was really impressive considering it was my first go. And then on the Saturday, no, it was testing on the Thursday, racing on the Monday. That's how it was. So it was slightly strange. And we weren't too far off. We were overtaking one of the lead people in the lead train, and on the very last lap we were catching the top of the lead train as that's them just ahead. They did manage to cause a crash, and we sailed through into fourth, I think this is, challenging for third, coming into the final corner, getting the switch back, and we only just marginally lose out on the line, but it was very, very close. But a car ahead did get a 5-second time penalty, which gave us the podium position. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below, and let me know how your Christmas goes. I hope you have a very good Christmas and a happy new year for 2025. I've been Ben Cox, and I will see you later.